Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Everyone has their fears, but we are not afraid of subtitles. Disclaimers for adult language and spoilers. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Waiting for the storms to come. I go back to school tomorrow, and they're talking about tornadoes. So,
oh, God.
Yeah. Apparently this front that's coming through is really scary, and we could have thunderstorms and tornado weather.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I want to go back to school tomorrow, mostly for that reason.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be a lot of rain. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a good day to stay home, I think. Hunker down.
It was beautiful though, like a few hours ago. Gorgeous blue skies and clouds.
Yeah, I think this spring it can't decide what it wants to be.
No.
It's like going through a lot of changes.
It was so hot almost, and then the next day like 50 or 40 degrees. I was like, what the okay. I felt bad for the plants and the birds. I bet they were like, what? I just started leafing out. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I know. I've spoken to so many people who are like, I had to bring all my plants back inside. It gets down into the 20s at night. It's like,
oh God.
And I had my AC on yesterday, and I forgot to put the heat on last night. So I woke up and it was 66 degrees in here.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, there are worse problems to have. But I had spring break last week, so I'm feeling all fresh and refreshed. And
hell yeah.
Yeah. Did
you get your studio organized?
No, I didn't.
Oh. That's okay. You relaxed.
Okay.
You feel good now. That's great.
I really relaxed. I watched a lot of TV.
Nice.
I was kind of a bum, but that's okay. Because
I
worked really hard. Yep. And I've decided I am going to quit one of my side gigs.
Let's go.
Yeah. I've told them I'm not available, and I haven't missed working for them. I haven't missed the money. It's fine. And so I'm going to officially, probably tonight, write a letter. Just say, I need to resign.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. It's hard.
That'll be such a load off your plate.
I think so. It's just hard for me to say no to that money.
Yeah. But you said you didn't miss it, so.
No, I really didn't. So I can live without it. Oh, and yesterday, I keep thinking about this. Yesterday, we went to this restaurant in Charlotte. I think it was called something like the Republic of Hummus or something.
Ooh,
like that.
Sounds good.
You could have rice, couscous, or warm garbanzo beans as a base. And I chose the garbanzo beans. And then I had kale and, cucumbers, and I don't know, falafel was my protein. But I'm like, I can make this. So I went to the store today and I got the stuff that I need. And so I'm going to give it a shot for dinner tonight.
You got it. It's going to be so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alan's making spaghetti right now, which I'm really excited for.
Ooh, I would be too.
It's like we started using it or doing it with turkey sausage. And then Dad had this like old recipe. His had all the like pork and stuff, but I'm trying not to eat red meat because that's what my doctor wants for me, and also my liver. So though I do miss it. God, why is pork so good? But anyways, God, we went to this like pho place the other day, and Alan got this plate, and a bunch of it was just fried pork. Oh my God, it was so good. Okay, but it's like the spaghetti, turkey sausage with like some like red wine and some like brown sugar too, and like the red wine makes it so aromatic. I'm like not a wine drinker at all, but I am a wine eater, I guess.
I never got into cooking with wine, but I understand the concept. So
yeah.
I
don't even know if I taste it. It's just like the smell. I'm like, ooh, this is so Italian.
That's good. Oh. So we'll both be eating well tonight.
Yeah. Yesterday, I saw a boxing match live.
What? Where?
It was in Raleigh. It was so we have a friend who's really into boxing, and Alan's kind of he's into boxing too. And I've watched a few matches like just on TV, but this was just like a local event, the Raleigh Rumble, that happened at a hotel. And it was weird because there was no signage. It kind of felt like I was going to like a underground event. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. The energy in the room was the craziest part because it was the vibe of you feel like anything could happen. And that's a little bit scary. Like at one point, because there were the two main events, there were people there to see those guys. And the opponents, I felt so bad for them because one of them, this guy got right up in his face, just a guy in the audience, and was like, boo! And I'm like, okay, we need him to have the match. Like, don't boo. Is he just supposed to stand in the ring by himself? Don't you want to see him beat this guy up? And he did. So he did his job. Like, don't boo him. It's crazy.
Is it sort of like pro wrestling, do you think?
No, I think this was like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like that belongs in boxing, but it's kind of different than like, like the heel in wrestling. At least I feel like it's, I don't know. It felt more like the home versus the away team. It's like all the local people were like, yes, let's go, for the local boxers. And then all the people who just, flew in from like Mexico or like New Jersey or something, people are like, whatever. And then sometimes, because there's like a ref in the ring, and sometimes, he'd kind of be in the way, which, I mean, he has to be because he has to look and watch, but people would just be like, move, ref. And he would move.
Oh. Okay.
And there was one event that was so weird. It was a women's boxing match, which wasn't even on the program. It was heavyweight. First woman comes out. She looks very like casual. Like all the male boxers looked very much like, honestly, how they do on TV. They got the whole fit down. But she kind of looked like I mean, no offense to her, but she does look like she put on like a t-shirt and some shorts. And then the next woman comes out. She's got to be like a foot taller than her. And she's wearing like a long sleeve and fishnets. And I mean, they're both heavyweight technically, because it's just, you got to be above a certain weight. But the shorter woman, she took kind of one swing and then she just walked over to the ref and like shook her head. Like, I'm not doing this. And everybody starts booing. And the taller girl is just like, and like shrugs and like starts like going like, yeah, I did it. And it was so weird. Oh. But I felt for her because I really feel like she was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I quit. And the announcer was just like, well, in under 30 seconds, like, so-and-so wins.
I wonder how often that happens. That's interesting.
Enoch, our friend, he said that it happens like a decent amount where I guess like really amateur people are like, actually I'm good.
Outmatched. Yeah, completely.
I wouldn't. Like Alan was like, oh, are you going to get the bug? I was like, no, no way. Never. I'd go to like a boxing gym. I'd punch a bag, but like, I'm not getting punched.
Oh, I thought he meant, do you think you'd get the bug in terms of wanting to see more boxing matches?
Oh, I would say yes to that because I'm really susceptible to crowd hype. Like if it's a sport any sport, if the crowd's hype, I'll probably get hyped too. But no, they were like, we gonna see you in the ring? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There probably is like a boxing gym somewhere near you. Those are pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be fun to punch.
Yeah, I do too. Well, some people who got punched
by death?
Fate, yes.
Yeah.
So WoHos, this week we are doing anthology films. And our first film is called Tales from the Crypt from 1972.
Did this come out before the TV show?
Yes.
And very interesting, because I didn't know. I feel like this happens a lot nowadays, where something kind of just with the same name that feels completely different has such a different level of fame. And I feel like that happened here. I didn't know that happened back in the day as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I never seen the Tales of the Crypt TV show, but I know it's got that old puppet.
Keeper. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. Tales from the Crypt. Here's the short plot summary from IMDb. 5 strangers get lost in a crypt and, after meeting the mysterious crypt keeper, receive visions of how they will die. It was directed by Freddie Francis, with screenplay by Milton Subotsky, based on Tales of the Crypt, The Vault of Horror by Al Feldstein, Johnny Craig, and Bill Gaines. It stars Joanne Collins, Peter Cushing, King, Roy Dotrice, Richard Green, Ian Hendry, Patrick McGee, Barbara Murray, Nigel Patrick, Robin Phillips, and Ralph Richardson, with cinematography by Norman Warwick, edited by Teddy Darvis, and music by Douglas Gamely. It was released March 8th, 1972, with a running time of 92 minutes. I think this is one of the better anthologies I've ever seen. All the stories, they just go down so easy. I really liked basically all of them, I think.
Yeah, me too.
We have our introduction with 5 strangers viewing some old catacombs in the English countryside. And they all have my favorite kind of voices back in the day. I kept just repeating everything these people said because I just love the way that they talk. We see a woman, a really kind of fancily dressed woman. Very poignantly, we get to see this brooch that she's wearing. Will be important later. And we see 4 men, and they stumble into a room with a mysterious crypt keeper who, I will say, sometimes, was this a made-for-TV movie? Because it kind of felt like it at times.
I don't think so.
His outfit was a little Party City. He kind of looked like the robes were not tattered in any way. They looked like they came right out of the package, the mysterious crypt keeper. But it was charming. It felt so low budget in the most charming way. Mm-hmm. It's a compliment.
Yeah.
So we get our first story, and all through the house. Oh, well, I should say, sorry. The strangers enter the crypt. We don't really know why they're there. And I even said out loud, why are they here? Because I was like, why would these 5 or was it?
I think it's
1, 2, 5. Why would these 5 fancily dressed people be here? But, it all becomes clear because the door closes and we see the crypt keeper on his throne. And the woman is the first one to ask, well, why am I here? And he says, well, what did you do before this? And where are you going to go after? And she gets a faraway look in her eyes. And then we get her story and all through the house. This was taken from the Vault of Horror number 35, February through March 1954. So we meet the beautiful and glamorous Joanne Clayton. It's Christmas, and she kills her much older husband, Richard, on Christmas Eve. This happens immediately. He's reading the newspaper, and then we see blood the brightest red blood you've ever seen. And she's behind him with like a fire poker, and then takes a key out and opens up a little safe behind a frame. And we just see like insurance claims. So I do like that they don't really, I mean, it is spelled out, but silently. Like you have to just be paying attention to know. It's not like she goes, great, now I can claim his insurance. Like, I like that it was pretty silent throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
She prepares to hide his body. And, it's kind of a little bit tense because her daughter upstairs is, not really getting to sleep yet. So she's having to go up and be like, go to sleep. And she's like, good night, daddy. And daddy's, dead on the ground downstairs. And it was nice seeing this woman like really struggle to like, because she's so well dressed, like her nails are bright red and she just looks so fancy. And, she's having to haul this huge guy around. But then we hear a radio announcement of a homicidal maniac lurking in the night, dressed as Santa Claus, who's escaped from a mental institution. And one thing I do love about this movie is that everything has like the best timing of all time, because of course, as soon as that radio announcement comes on, we get outside in the snow. He's walking up to the door, but I love it. And she sees the killer, and it's clear. I mean, he's clearly nefarious. He's dressed up as Santa, but he looks like he's there to do some bad stuff. But she can't call the police without exposing her own crime. And I did rewind and make Alan come into the room to show him the phone that she had. That was so cool. I was like, wow, like, y'all, it was a rotary phone, but it just had, the phone was the handle and the bottom underneath was the rotary. Mm-hmm. It looked so stylish. It was perfect. That's one thing. The sets in this movie were like chef's kiss, amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I also made a comment to Alan. I was like, okay, I know we as a society have gotten more horny with time, but there's no way you can't say that we weren't always this way, because yes, she's fully clothed, but I just felt like so much emphasis was put on her boobs. Am I wrong? Like, it felt like they were really trying to be like, look at this sexy woman. So in a way, I was like, we've always been this way.
Yeah, probably so.
So, she kind of momentarily forgets about homicidal Santa Claus. He, I guess, can't figure out how to get in yet. And so we see her clean up her murder. She locks all the doors and the windows. At one point, she's got to like get the poker, beat down this one, window latch, and she hurls her husband's body down into the basement, which was so like, that was an amazing stunt. Like, he really tumbled down that basement.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, is he okay? She's cleaning up the murder scene, which is pretty fun to watch. Like, I also said out loud, like, this probably wouldn't fly these days. Like, it's a white carpet, and I mean, somehow she gets those stains out. I do think all the blood would still be traceable in today's world, but I don't think back then. Maybe. We see her wash her hands. I like this scene a lot. And so she attempts to phone the police, and the audience can piece together this is to make the police believe it was the maniac that killed her husband. But her young daughter, Carol, who must have believed that the maniac was Santa, like, she sees that her door's open, goes to look for her, and she comes out of, because they have these like curtains in front of their front door. And she comes out of the curtain. She's like, it's Santa. And there's Santa. And he strangles Joanne to death. And the strangling is a bit odd. He just kind of goes behind her and looks like he's giving her like an inappropriate workplace massage, but she just screams and dies. But
yeah, you just have to go with it.
Yeah, that was a lot of this movie. You just gotta be like, okay, I see what you're going for.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great first start. And, when we come back to the crypt, she's just a little bit shell-shocked. And in a way, I felt like they gave maybe this all away a little bit too soon by focusing so much on the brooch in the beginning, because I feel like they then try to set up this idea of like, is this a vision or has it already happened? But the brooch she got, like, because after she kills the husband, I forgot to mention, she just opens up some presents underneath the tree, and one of them's that brooch. So this has already happened. We know this from the first story. So I thought that was a little bit of like you buried the lead a little bit, but you know. So our next tale is The Reflection of Death. So we see, and every story is going to start with the next person going up and being like, but why am I here? And then this was taken from Tales from the Crypt number 23, April to May 1951. So we see this kind of business looking man, Carl Maitland. He is presumably going on a business trip. He says goodbye to his wife and to his children. He looks very sad, but he leaves. And we see very pointedly his name on like the Mr. and Mrs. Maitland on the door. He drives and goes to see his secretary, Susan Blake. Her name is also on the door. And looks like she's packed up everything. Like there's no furniture. They drive off together. He's kind of falling asleep. And he makes the grave mistake of letting a woman drive. They do switch seats. Women are... This is kind of a classic misogynistic views towards a women movie. I think subtly. Like, a lot of bad stuff happens because of women being women, you know? We got the gold diggers. We got them trying to think they can drive. Dummies later. But anyway, I did say out loud, I was like, we already know what's going to happen. A woman's driving. And WoHos, I'm obviously joking. The secretary takes over the wheel, and, you know, they're just kind of talking a little bit. And he's like, you know, I said goodbye to my children and yeah, I'll miss them, but hey, you know, it's a new start. And so, but then they get into a car crash, obviously. And the car crash scene is just like amazing. I mean, the camera's just spinning. They're like, he's got his tongue out like, and like, it's pretty crazy. He's got the bright red blood. And I love this scene. Like, then he wakes up, but we're from his perspective and we just see his gloved hand and there's some like red, but you can kind of presume like, oh, he's just been in a grave accident. And so he attempts to go home, but everybody he sees just starts screaming in terror. Like, he happens upon like a homeless man by a fire who's like, ah, and like runs away and then tries to hitchhike. The guy just drives away. He gets to his house, but we see that the name on the door is different. And when he knocks and the woman opens, his wife, she just screams at him and closes the door. And we can see through the window, she's talking with another man. She is with another man. And this I really liked because I was like, is this an alternate reality? Like, what has occurred? I really thought, you know, he gave up his family and now it's like he never existed. That's what I thought was happening. So then he goes to see Susan, still the same name, but she is blind from the accident and she has a bunch of furniture in her house, which she comments on. And she's like, oh, it's you. Like, you're really back. And she says that 2 years ago, Carl died in the crash. And so she was attempting to bring him back. This is a ride or die right here. And when he glances at the tabletop, he sees he has the face of a rotting corpse and screams in horror. He then wakes up to find out that it was just a dream while they were driving. But the moment he does, the crash just happens exactly again.
Yeah.
Which was funny because earlier we did see him like fall asleep and go like, no.
I like this one. I like the corpse makeup.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, it does look pretty scary. So it makes sense why people would run away from him in terror. And I do like the car crash scene too, because it's all just like suggestion. It's just like, I don't know, a shot of this fence. And so you know that they're going to crash through this fence. And then the camera turning around in a circle. And I don't know, just amazing 1972 cinematography.
I agree. It's so good. And I think there's a lot of horror in the scene of him walking around. We just see his hand and everybody fleeing in terror and he has no idea why. I think that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
So our next story is Poetic Justice. This, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it might be my second favorite. This was taken from The Haunt of Fear number 12, which was released March through April 1952. So we meet a young man who looks very British, James Elliot. He lives with his father, Edward, and they live across from the home of an elderly dustman, Arthur Edward Grimsdyke, played by Mr. Peter Cushing.
That's right.
Who does a phenomenal job. He owns a number of dogs and he entertains children in his house with stories and toys. He makes toys for them. He's just an all-around good guy. He's a widower, but still has a heart of gold. You know, like this is just a nice gentleman. But James is your typical, you know, rich asshole. And he's just like, oh, his house, it's just, you know, a blight on this neighborhood. I hate it. And just really has it out for Grimsdyke. And you know, his dad, I think, also thinks it's ugly, but is less vitriolic. But I mean, he still wishes he wasn't there. So they resent Grimsdyke as a blight on their neighborhood, but James, the younger, detests the old man enough to begin a smear campaign against him. First, he goes to Grimsdyke's next door neighbor, who has these prized roses. I love this scene. He digs them all up. He takes some home as a trophy, sticks them, and he's like, let's see what he thinks about Grimsdyke messing with his prized roses. Instantly, next scene, my prized roses. And so the neighbor thinks it was Grimsdyke's dogs. So animal control takes all of his dogs away, which is so sad. He's like, so they're sad. My children. They're my friends. And they're like, sorry, sir, we've got a complaint. We've got to take them. Though luckily one later does return to him, which is very sweet.
He's so poor, he doesn't have money to buy licenses for the dogs.
Yeah, he's like, because they're like, you don't have licenses. And he's like, I've got no money to pay for them. But before, I guess he just got off on good behavior. But so sad. So then he persuades a member of the council to have him removed from his job by just saying he's very old. So he can't do it. So, and I mean, it's so funny because the guy's like, okay, enough said. But you know, Grimsdyke has still got a heart of gold. We see him at home. Also, there's a lot of accusations thrown that his house must be filthy. It's spotless, actually. You know, if it was filthy, he would be, you know, this would all be okay. But he is clean, so it's okay. Or it's not okay. So, you know, he's talking to a picture of his passed on wife at night. He's, you know, he's got to turn off the lights to save money on him. But, you know, at least he has the children to help. But then James exploits the parents' paranoid fears about child molestation and basically hints to all of them like and what reason, which is actually really sad because I do feel like this could still be used today of this, you know, idea of like what reason would an older man have to be nice to children. And it's like, I don't know, like to be nice, like, yeah. Can that happen? Like, can we accept that men can, you know, just love children and be nice to them? I want to live in that world. So sadly, the children stop coming around. And unbeknownst to James, it's gotta be one of the best scenes of all time. Grimsdyke is like on his last, he's feeling so alone. He dabbles in the occult and holds a seance by himself to confer with his late wife, who just, what does she say? Like dancer?
Danger.
Okay. I was like, dancer? Like, what? But so he's, you know, asking her like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And like, he's got his fingerless gloves. It's just so good. Peter Cushing, he sells it so well. So on Valentine's Day, the last piece de resistance, James sends Grimsdyke a number of poison pen valentines, supposedly from the neighbors, which just say, I mean, the scene is so comical and sad. Like Grimsdyke he's got all these letters. He's like, oh, nobody ever writes to me. And he's like, oh, Valentine. He says to his late wife, like, well, you're my only Valentine, but let's see what this says. And they're all just rhymes that are like, you're ugly and smelly. We wish you'd go away. And the last one says, how about you go jump into the river and ...
Yeah.
It's so comically, like, just so horrible, but I was kind of laughing, but in a good, like, I loved it. It was like black comedy kind of. So later they realize they haven't heard from Grimsdyke in a while, and they check his house and they see that he is hanging. But we also see a glimpse of all these books that say like life after death. And I say, yes, haunt his ass. So the next morning, actually it's a year later, because they have a comment of like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, because James finds some Valentines in his drawer but throws them in the fire, and him and his father are reflecting like, it's been a year to the day. And James is, sitting at his desk at night, and then we see Grimsdyke's hand shoot up from the grave, and this amazing shot of him in the darkness, like shuffling towards James in his study. I thought this looked amazing. It looks really scary, honestly. It was scarier than the Frankenstein makeup in the Peter Cushing Frankenstein, I think. And then we get to see his full face, which is so creepy. His teeth are all exposed and whatnot, and just, halves at James. The next morning, Edward finds his son bloodied and dead with a note that reads, Happy Valentine's Day. You were mean and cruel right from the start. Now you have no ... And when he opens up the paper, it's his heart. Ah!
And it's still beating.
Yeah, it's still beating. So good. And I do love James. Like when we flash back to the crypt, he's just like, yeah, he was right. I was a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, I had this thought that after we retire the podcast, whenever that is, in 10 years' time, I think we should do a Peter Cushing podcast.
Yes, we are the biggest Peter Cushing fans, I think.
I mean, he's such a doll, and it would just be really fun to go through all his films.
Yeah, it would. He's so good. He was great in this. He really sold the nice but vengeful old man. So our next tale, Wish You Were Here. This one I think is perhaps the one that, in the grand scheme of the whole overarching story, makes the least amount of sense to me.
Right.
I don't get why this guy's going to go to hell.
Right.
But this is Wish You Were Here. It was taken from The Haunt of Fear number 22, released November through December 1953. And it's a variation on W. W. Jacobs' short story, The Monkey's Paw. So, ineffective, ruthless businessman Ralph Jason is close to financial ruin.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
Right? This is like, why is...
But he says something like his financial advisor is like, well, you've had to do you've done terrible things to make your money. And he's
okay.
Like, well, yes, and of course I have, but I had to make this fortune.
Yeah.
So, I know, but I had the same question. I'm like, what did this guy do that was so bad? But I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know exactly.
I think it would have been funnier if his wife, I think, went to hell.
Yeah.
I think she deserves it more than he does. But anyway, so Ralph, he's close to financial ruin. He's done some shady things, but he's about to lose it all. His wife Enid notices for the first time the inscription on a Chinese figurine in the couple's collection, because they're both lamenting having to give up this home. And it is beautiful. I love the way the set is decorated. It's just so ornate. And, she's like, oh, but look at this statuette you got from Hong Kong. I've never realized the inscription on it. And it basically lists like, oh, the owner gets 3 wishes, and be careful, you only get 3. And then there's some stuff on the bottom that they can't exactly read, but the last word is, it's something ominous, but I can't remember.
Oh gosh.
depose or like dispel or something like that. But you basically is like, I'm sure it says like, but don't do it. So Enid just casually wishes for a fortune, and immediately they get a phone call because, again, stuff works really fast in this movie. And it's, the Ralph's business partner being like, come in right now. And so obviously good stuff has happened. But when Ralph leaves in his car, he's tailed by a guy with a skull face on a motorcycle and is seemingly killed in a car crash. So the lawyer tells Enid that, hey, your husband has died, but at least this will alleviate some burden. He's actually got a lot of money. So he's got a good insurance policy. So, everything's going to be okay. And so she realizes, oh shit, this is from the wish that I made. And, she begins telling the lawyer about these 3 wishes. And he's like, okay, that's like the monkey's paw. Don't do it. Really, don't do it. But she wishes Ralph back. And he literally lists like the story of the monkey's paw being like, oh, they get, it's like the monkey's paw is that, yes, she gets this money, but it's from an insurance policy because her husband died. Same thing happened with this mom who lost her son, wished her dead son back only to be horrified by his gruesome appearance, and then uses the last wish to send him back to the grave. So against his advice, Enid uses her second wish to bring him back, quote, the way he was just before the accident. So in this amazing scene, just a bunch of men in suits and top hats open up the door, like fog rolls in, and they bring in a coffin, and like they and he says to her, like, don't look at it, like he was mangled in the car crash. And they're like, no, he wasn't. He died of a heart attack. Okay. So they open up the coffin and there he is, embalmed. He is not mangled, but that's because he technically died of a heart attack right before the car crash. So Enid tells the lawyer to leave. She's about to do something stupid. And why would you do this? Her last wish is wishing that Ralph would come back to life and to live forever. Okay. So Gregory comes back inside. He discovers too late Enid went against his warning. And when Ralph wakes up, he's screaming. And Gregory points out that Ralph was embalmed. So he's suffering because his body is full of embalming fluid. So she pulls a katana off the shelf and tries to stab him to death. And like, we get these amazing guts. And he's just like writhing in agony. His hand gets chopped off. It's like flopping. And so he cannot be killed. And as a result, she has trapped him in eternal agony. And so she fucked up. And so I'm like, she gets to go to hell. Yeah. What'd he do? This is probably a better end for him, is going to hell.
Yes,
than,
it is.
Yeah. Like he actually got off scot-free.
Well, not sure about that, but
as compared to being full of embalming fluid your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or your whole eternity. God. That one, I thought the thought of it was really good. Yeah, like
me too.
Thinking of that, sounds horrible.
But you're right. Why would you wish someone to live forever?
Yeah.
There's got to be a downside to that.
Obviously. Yeah. So here's our last story. And I do think it is my favorite. I think it's the most well done one. So this is Blind Alleys, taken from Tales from the Crypt number 46 from February to March 1955. So we see this man, Major William Rogers, with his German Shepherd named Shane, which is the funniest name for a dog ever. He has become the new director of a home for the blind. And I did have a few questions beginning. At first I was like, oh, it's for children. And then I realized it was only for old men. And I was wondering, like, do these exist? Like, just old folks' homes exclusively for old blind men. Is this a thing?
Maybe in the 50s.
Maybe. And, it doesn't seem like the lap of luxury, but, seems like it's run like a pretty standard, maybe like a public place would be run. But things get worse when Major William Rogers takes control. And we get a lot of context clues that he's a hard ass. He makes everybody call him Major William Rogers. He, just is really curt and official and, immediately decorates his office with all these lavish things. But he begins to make some drastic cuts. First, we begin with it's super cold, and we see all the old men huddled around the radiator, but when they touch it, they're like, it's cold. And, they're trying, we've got our main old man character, George Carter, who is just a fucking badass. And I thought, I just really like this one. I really feel like it felt very empowering, honestly. Because I mean, I don't know if all these actors are, blind or not, but, he's checking in on the other residents. There's one guy who's clearly so cold. So he's like, I'll get you an extra blanket, but he checks the cupboard and we see him feel around and there's no extra blankets. So he goes into the office of Major William Rogers and he's got a beautiful fire burning, got the ornate things on the wall. And he's like, hey, it's really cold. Can you either make it warmer or get us more blankets? And Rogers is just like, no budget cuts. No, I can't be doing that. And he's like, well, surely you can sell like a painting or something. And he's like, no. So then we see that the food is, and he gives this nice speech where he says like, yes. Wait, I'm forgetting. Okay, sorry. Because this is one of my favorite scenes. He goes into the office and he requests, can you please make it warmer? And he goes, sorry, I'm turning off the heating at 2000 hours every night. And it should be fine because all of you are blind. What do you have to see anyway? Just go to bed. Crazy thing to say. Absolutely buck wild. George is like, okay, listen. Yeah, we can't see, but all of our other senses are heightened. So if the food tastes bad, we taste it all that much more. If there's a bug, we hear its legs skitter. If it's dirty, we feel all the grime. And if it's cold, like we feel it to our bones. And Rogers is basically like, I don't give a shit. And George is like, have you ever worked with blind people before? And he's like, no. And so he just dismisses him. Next, we see that the food is dog shit. There's no meat. And also, even if you do eat it all, you don't get seconds. When they all come to check in on Rogers, he's eating a lovely meal. And he's even given the dog some of it. The dog's living better than they are. And even though all of them are there, he's got this giant German Shepherd that is keeping them at bay. And then the last straw is fellow resident Greenwood dies from hypothermia. George goes at some point to get Rogers to get him a doctor. He's so reticent. He's like, it's the middle of the night. He's like, please. And then he's like, oh, well, the guy's dead. And so all of the guys just kind of look at each other like, all right, well, we're going to do something. So we see the most amazing, it's almost like a heist like montage, and you're having to piece together what's going to happen yourself, because first we see them, they're all eating. And I just love this scene. Like they're eating, but they'll pick off one piece of bacon from their food and pass it to the next guy who will add his bacon. So then it lastly goes to George, who gets it. And right outside of Roger's office, he like rubs some on the floor and like leaves a little trail. So then when he returns with his dog, as he enters his office, Shane follows the meat trail and gets locked in this basement. So then they basically grab Rogers. All of them like stage a revolt. They've got their canes and they're taking him down. They lock him in a room. And then they also subdue like the doctor. And so Rogers and Shane are both in like tiny cells. And Rogers is like, please, like at least feed Shane. He's going to go berserk. He's going to go ravenous. And you already know what's going to happen. George is like, oh, he'll be fed. And then we see all of the men band together and just start building stuff. And it's amazing. And so finally, Rogers is like, it's been 2 days. Like, give me some food. Give Shane some food. And he's like, oh, like, Shane will be fed. And so they finally open up the door for Rogers. And just the way that this is shot is just beautiful. Like, they've made this tunnel. And first we just see like, chicken wire and like boards. And he's just kind of feeling around. And there's like another door that's opened at the end, and it's so ominous. He walks through, but then he's like, because he looks, and they have this like wall that's like kind of converging in, because they had the lights off. They turned them back on, so he's had to feel on the walls just like them. But when he feels in the dark, he goes, and they turn on the lights. They've covered the walls in these razors. It's so amazing. Like the long shot of it just was making my skin crawl. And so he's having to shuffle through, but the walls are getting narrower. So he is cutting himself until finally he comes to the end, and we see this door with a string, and they pull the string and Shane is released. They turn the lights off as he turns to run back through the razors, and the rest is history. Shane kills him. That one is just like, it's art.
That's beautiful.
It's so good. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, me too.
it like seems kind of believable, like just a shitty guy taking over. I mean, not the whole thing, but it felt very empowering.
Yeah, I agree. I was just like, what are they doing? Because the sequence goes on for a while with the boards and everything, but it's really cool. Like, it looks believable that these are blind men and they're constructing something. Like, they're using saws and other tools, but hammers and things like that. But I don't know, the way they did it physically, it made sense.
Yeah, they're like feeling first and then hammering away. Like, it all feels, like these aren't people who are powerless, which I really enjoyed. Yeah. And that there's obviously merit in their existence and their happiness, So then we get our finale. The Crypt Keeper reveals he was not warning them of what would happen, but telling them what has already happened. They have all died without repentance. And like I said, the clue to this that we could already tell from the get was that, Joanne's wearing the brooch that her husband had given her for Christmas. So then this door opens.
James is also wearing a rose. He has a rose.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The prized rose. So then this door opens. It has a bright light, and one of the guys, Ralph, enters first, but, he's turns back and he's like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, jump in. And he jumps into a horrible, like, looking green screen fire pit. They're in hell. And he goes, nah. And now, everybody walks through and gets to their fate. The Crypt Keeper then says, and now, who's next? Turns to face the camera. Perhaps you? The scene pulls away and the credits roll as the entrance to the Crypt Keeper's lair is in flames.
Nice.
So good. Nice. I loved it.
One. I did too.
Well, here's some trivia. Peter Cushing is said to act as himself in this movie. Cushing's wife had died recently and he was very depressed. His character was a widower who uses a Ouija board to talk to his dead wife. And his dead wife is said to have been called Helen, which was Cushing's real wife. He really wanted to do this movie so much that he even took a lower fee for it, which is amazing. And at first, his role, Mr. Grimsdyke, was a tiny non-speaking role, but was obviously had to be expanded once Peter Cushing took an interest in it, which is, I'm glad they were smart. Like, they utilized him well, I think.
Yeah, me too. I loved his voice. It was very high and thin. And I mean, I know he was in these like sort of B movies, but he was a really good actor.
Yeah, killed it. He was actually intended to play Ralph Jason, the guy who became immortal, but after looking at the script, he persuaded the producers that he would do more justice to the role of Mr. Grimsdyke. Amazing. Ralph Jason played by Richard Green's Grand Mansion house in the segment Wish You Were Here, is the same house that featured as the London house of Gregory Peck and Lee Remick in The Omen from 1976. It is Pyrford Court near Woking in Surrey. Robert Zemeckis said that this is his favorite movie to watch on Halloween since it was released. He produced the HBO series Tales from the Crypt from 1989, which was based on the comic book series. And the role of Grimsdyke is considered by fans to be one of Peter Cushing's greatest performances. Wow, and Sir Ralph Richardson filmed his major role in one day. That is crazy. That must have been a long-ass day. Joanne Collins recreated her scene from All Through the House for the TV series American Horror Story 2011 Apocalypse. What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Huh. I did watch that season, but I don't remember that. I mean, I wouldn't have known, but I have to look that up now. This won the British Fantasy Award for Best Film in 1973, and the characters were sent to hell due to them violating one of the 10 commandments. For Joanne, it was murder. Carl committed adultery. James hated his neighbor and bearing false witness. Ralph selling illegal goods, and Rogers abusing the residents at his place of work. Oh yeah, I remember that commandment. Well, briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Tommy Bahama 1 gave it a half star. This movie was boring and no good actors. The Crypt Keeper looked horrible. True. This movie was not good. Not true. Geck watched it and said, silly, naive, and very British. Tales from the Crypt strings together 5 morality tales with predictable twists and a heavy-handed sense of justice. Some segments work better than others, but overall, it feels more quaint than creepy. The setups are decent, but the payoffs are too obvious, and the whole thing leans more toward camp than horror. Not without charm, but mostly forgettable. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I would say, to me, sometimes camp and horror go hand in hand. I feel like it's kind of silly to say, like, this is more camp than horror. Why not both?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think horror is camp a lot of the times. Like, you know, Freddy Krueger. It's like the most camp horror character of all time.
Yeah.
And I disagree with it being like, oh, this is so obvious. I think sometimes simple is best. Like, I think I like me a simple tale.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Faisal Al-Jadir gave it 5 stars. I think, like the majority of Amicus productions, Tales from the Crypt is a dark comedy. Yes, it's horror, but these stories have some sort of inherent wit to the proceedings, much like their source comics, that can't be denied. Poetic Justice, my favorite segment in this film, best sums that up. Great horror anthology, not necessarily deep, but good fun. Standout performer in the whole bunch is Peter Cushing, who gives a really sympathetic portrayal as Grimsdyke, no doubt inspired by his real-life loss. Miss Jeanette gave it 5 stars. I can't believe I am just seeing this one. What a gem! Every story was great. I think I liked the monkey paw one best, just because each wish I kept saying, oh no, while laughing. Definitely will watch again. And H.N. Salguero watched it and said, fun and funky. Well, how would we rate it? How about Pits of Hell?
I think 5 pits of hell.
5 pits of hell. I'll give it 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not 5 for you?
I think, like, I really liked it. I do think it just did bug me, the brooch thing. I know that's a really tiny thing, but I thought that would have been a cool thing to sell of, like, did this actually happen? But we know from the get that it did. And that was a misstep for me. But overall, I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
What have we learned? Be a good Christian.
Yeah, don't sin and don't bear false witness against your neighbor, whatever you do.
I said when the crypt keeper turned and said, "What about you?" Alan looked at me and I was like, "And your crime? Gay." I fall into the pit. Would we watch it again? Yes.
Yes.
Favorite scene and or kill? How about favorite story for you?
I think the one with the blind men was my favorite one. Although I like I like a lot of them.
They're all really good.
I like the one with Peter Cushing, and I like the Wish You Were Here one as well. But I think Blind Alleys is my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Who wins the You Fool Award? I guess all the people plus Enid.
Yeah.
Definitely Enid.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
I mean, she was the one who it was spelled out for her why she shouldn't do it. And she still was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I really want money. All right, well, that was Tales from the Crypt. So our second movie is called Southbound. Here is the short plot summary from IMDb. 5 interlocking tales of terror follow the fates of a group of weary travelers who confront their worst nightmares and darkest secrets over one long night on a desolate stretch of desert highway. And I am going to give the stats for the directors, the writers, and the cast as we go through each story. But the music is by The Gifted. It was released September 16th, 2015 at TIFF and February 5th, 2016 in the US, and it has a running time of 89 minutes. How'd you feel about this runtime, Mac?
Somehow it still felt like it dragged on. This is my second time seeing this movie, but I think I saw it in 2015, so it had been a while.
Oh, okay. These were both first-time watches for me. All right, the first one is called The Way Out, directed by Radio Silence, directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin. Mitch, Chad Valleja, and Jack Matt Bettinelli-Olpin are on the run from mysterious floating creatures. Filled with remorse, Mitch looks at a photograph of his daughter Catherine as they drive down a nameless highway. Out in the desert, Mitch sees the creatures stalking them, but does not tell Jack. In desperation, the pair pulls up to a run-down gas station. Inside, the men witness strange events as the creatures stalk them from afar. What were the strange events?
I don't know. I think the vibes were weird in the gas station, but and I think they could see them outside, but I don't remember what the strange events were.
I don't either. As Mitch and Jack attempt to escape, they pull up to the same gas station further down the road. Jack tries to leave as the creatures close in on the pair and is killed. And is killed a la Starship Troopers.
Yeah, like arm down the throat, split face.
Yeah. Mitch, believing that this is the fate he deserves, refuses to leave and instead follows the creatures to a nearby motel. He enters room 6255 and finds himself in a home that he finds familiar. Hearing his daughter's voice, Mitch follows the sounds and finds an apparition of his daughter Catherine, who begs for his help. As he moves closer to his daughter, however, she continues to run away. Mitch is trapped in the hallway of the house, tormented until death by the regret that he was not able to help his daughter.
And now, do we know? I was kind of confused about this and a later one, what occurred.
Yeah, I was too, and especially in the later one when it's revealed who killed her. I the wife says something, not to jump ahead, but might as well. The wife says something like, "You said," and then she doesn't say anything. You said what?
Yeah,
you said
I
it was
wanted
an accident.
to.
You said like what? I mean,
yeah, like and the basically we see the who must be the perpetrator later in a story, and he's like, I'm sorry, but it's like, what did you do? Like,
yeah.
So I wish they would have revealed a little bit more.
Yeah, me too. So I guess and there is some dialogue around all of this by the two men. It's something about, she asked for his help and he didn't provide it. And so I don't know what the details were, and that's never provided to us. So we don't know. Should we describe the floating creatures?
Yeah, they they kind of seem like a drawing that if like man, I do not mean to be rude. But it's one of those where like if you saw a kid drawing it in class, you'd be like, that kid's really talented. But when you see it in a movie, you're like, I don't know. It was like skeletons, but they're wrapped in these fuzzy kind of seed pods that sometimes they would split apart and you'd see the skeleton face. They've got like wings that are bony and like scythy fingers, and it's hanging on like a spinal column stalk, and it also has like tentacles at the end. It just felt like there was a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. But from a distance, they just kind of look like these wraiths,
Yeah.
and they're just sort of gauzy and kind of floating, hanging in the distance, but they're looking really ominous. And then when you get closer up, then you see all these details, like you said. There is like the creature design is very complicated.
And I just feel like when you've got something where, because every time we see these creatures, it's basically like the brightest light in the desert. So there's nowhere to hide. And I think a lot of times that, like, being in the dark and a shadowy thing, it does so much to add to the scariness. So if you're going to have something and be the brightest light with like no background, I feel like that's a really bold choice to do like a creature and do an animation, but thus it makes it so that there's nowhere to hide. And I think I struggled with finding them creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish they blended more into the background, because I think deserts can be very scary. And if you had something that could be mistaken for grass or tumbleweed or a cactus or something, that would have been cool. And maybe that's what they were going for, but it didn't execute well.
I don't think that's what they were going for. I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
No, I think they were kind of going for something vaguely religious, but anyway, they appear in every story. So, okay, the next one is called Siren. It's directed by Roxanne Benjamin, written by Roxanne Benjamin and Susan Burke. At the same motel are Sadie, Fabienne Therese, Ava, Hannah Marks, and Kim, Nathalie Love, traveling musicians in a band called the White Tights. Leaving the motel, visiting landmarks stalked by the floating creatures, their van's tire goes flat, and they are forced to pull over. Stranded in the middle of the desert, they are picked up by a friendly, eccentric couple, Susan Burke and Davy Johnson. In the back seat of their car, Sadie sees a bear trap.
I know something that really got me was the couple in the car. They look so young, but they're talking like they're from the 50s and stuff. And I get that this is the point. I feel like it's a misstep. I think, and I see, okay, Susan Burke is the woman and she's one of the writers. So they're probably just trying to save on money. Old people, no offense to any old people in the audience, old people can be very creepy. And I think it's a misstep to not utilize that. But it also could have had so much of a homier, like, oh, this friendly, nice old couple's picking us up. And it's an old woman and an old man. Even if they did try to get us, we can take them on. But it being like a guy who looks like he's 30 with the worst male pattern baldness you've ever seen, like, just shave your head at this point. And the woman who doesn't look to be that much older than them, it like, I just feel like the vibe is supposed to be friendly couple that lures you into danger. And I wish they were old, basically.
Yeah.
Because they could have been old, but old for a very long time. But I just think it's a misstep, kind of.
Yeah, I totally get that. The band is taken to the couple's house further down the road. Inside, the band is shown to their room. Sadie hears the woman mention their late friend Alex, but neither Ava nor Kim seems to notice. Yeah, she says something like, and I'm really sorry about Alex.
I liked that. I thought that was good. And her being like, nobody noticed that, but she's like, I'm not hearing things. I think that would be so creepy.
At dinner with the Kensingtons, Anessa Ramsey and Dana Gould, who live nearby with twin sons, they are served a meal of burnt roast beef. Sadie, a vegetarian, politely declines. Before eating, the two families recite a strange prayer, seemingly satanic in nature. After dinner, Kim begins to blame Sadie for Alex's death, and both Ava and Kim suddenly begin vomiting a black substance. Sadie gets help, and the people in the house give Ava and Kim a white liquid medicine to drink. Sadie confronts her friends for their strange behavior and tries to persuade them to leave. They refuse, in a trance, and decide to stay the night at the house. So I think after eating the meat is when their demeanor changes. And when they get the medicine, they're like, thank you for this medicine. Good medicine. It's obviously very creepy. And
I remembered this one, and at first thinking that it was strong, but I take that back because these are friends. But two of my friends started wearing the exact same outfit that the creepy people gave them, and both started being fucking weird, I think I would have a much larger reaction than Sadie.
Yeah.
And that took me out, where I was just like, why? Like, why are we staying here? Why are you not like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that completely. Yeah, she's just a little too, she's like annoyed, but she's not sending up the alarm or anything.
And that's such a good, scary thing, is people you love acting differently. Like, that is horror. Do that. And then not being able to hurt them because they are people that you love, which they also don't utilize later. I'm just like, you're missing the point of the thing that makes your story scary.
Mm-hmm. That night, Sadie has a nightmare of Alex being killed in a car accident. Waking up in the middle of the night, Ava and Kim are gone. Sadie finds them outside around a bonfire, participating in a strange cult ritual with the others in the house. Well, she sees them sort of walking to the bonfire first, and then the weird twin boys are walking as well. It's all very creepy. Investigating from the bush nearby, Sadie's foot becomes caught in the bear trap seen in the couple's car the day before. Hearing the commotion, Ava and Kim give chase as Sadie escapes the trap and moves into a nearby shed. Here, she is accosted by an apparition of Alex.
So when they chase her, it is no hesitation. She beats the shit out of both of them. And I'm just like, these are your best friends. Like, why is this easy for you? And another thing I thought of was, because part of this ritual, the young old people cut their hands. I thought, what a misstep, because if they would have had just a little bit of makeup to have a bunch of scars on their hands of how often they've done this ritual, that would be so good. But it's like, oh, so it's the first time they've done this because their hands are pristine. Mm-hmm. Or I guess maybe that's their point of, oh, they're immortal, but I just feel like, I don't know. I think some stuff tells a better story, and I think they tried to cut some corners here. They didn't want to hire old people, so they're like, I don't know, the ritual makes them young forever.
Yeah. Terrified, Sadie runs out into the road and hails an approaching car for help, only to get run over by the car in a cruel twist of fate. On the road behind her, one of the enigmatic floating creatures can be seen watching Sadie.
What'd you think about this one?
Yeah, it's not the best. The acting's pretty bad. And I don't know. I mean, devil cults are scary and everything like that. I just don't think they're the most scary.
Yeah, and what we were saying before of a simple story being good, I think this is proof of why something that's just so complicated and doesn't even make sense. It's like, what am I even supposed to be scared about right now? Is it the danger of getting into a stranger's car? Well, I don't think that was done very well. Was it eating bad meat? Okay. Like, I think some stuff, like, I think the twins, that was done well. They were very creepy looking, and it was obviously unsettling, but just not enough was done. And a lot of times with this movie, I'm like, now what is the point though? And at least in Tales of the Crypt, I know the point of every single one. I know exactly what they're going for. And with this one, I'm just like, and so what even is happening right now?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, not the strongest story. Maybe the
but
weakest
this one, I love this one.
This one is tough. It's called The Accident. It's written and directed by David Bruckner. The driver of the car, Lucas Mather Zickel, is talking to his wife Claire on the phone. Distracted, he does not see Sadie, and she is hit by his car. Lucas exits the car and sees Sadie lying on the ground, critically injured, and calls 911. However, he's unable to tell the dispatcher where he is. A certified EMT gets on the line to help. The dispatcher and the EMT tell Lucas to drive Sadie to a nearby town where he finds a medical facility. So the voices are really good. I think the voices over the phone are great. The acting's great. And the way they kind of like overlap each other is just really creepy and scary. They're like, we need you to go to the town, Lucas. Go to the town, Lucas. And when you're in the town, look for a medical facility. You'll find it. Don't worry, Lucas. We're with you. I don't know. It's just really
it's so good.
Really great.
And I actually had to look away a lot of this one because it was a little bit too brutal. Like, she is fucked up by this car, and her like choking sounds are really gross. And I just love how they play on, like, okay, you know those videos of like what I think will happen at the airport, of like, you know, them being like, ma'am, you're the terrorist. This is like that to me, like worst nightmare of you accidentally hurt somebody and this is what you have to do. I just love it. And I love how they're kind of like gaslighting him a little bit, like,
oh yeah,
and just, you know, really making him feel like, well, you have to do this. Like, you're a bad person if you don't. And this is what it's like to have OCD. It's this movie.
Entering the facility, he finds it completely abandoned. After searching for help, the dispatcher decides to guide Lucas through performing life-saving surgery. A third voice, that of a doctor, gets on the line. The voices convince Lucas to painfully wrap a tourniquet around Sadie's almost severed leg, insert a tube into her throat so that she can breathe, and cut into her rib cage, reaching into the inside of her chest to manually compress her lungs, which finally kills her.
And it's almost comical. Like, he wraps the tourniquet around her leg, which already had a compound fracture. It basically like totally snaps off. And they're like, Lucas, what's going on? And he's like, her leg, it's not good. And they're like, you know, you're going to have to like intubate her. It's pretty easy, but you got to do it right. And, it's a very specific equipment, and it's, oh my God, it's so good. Like, this is, if somebody's ever walking, guys, if you ever hit me with a car and this is ever happening, just leave me to die. Like, this is also my worst fear, is untrained person does.
Oh, yes.
Like that is like a huge, anytime that happens in like a horror movie, like this is a big part of Human Centipede 2. And it's just so like, oh, that's so scary to me.
And I thought the special effects were pretty good. Like, especially when he's like inside a rib cage and he's trying to find the lung. And then he's like, The voices begin to laugh at Lucas and he hangs up. He tries to escape the hospital, but finds that all the doors are locked. Shortly after, his phone rings again. The dispatchers persuade Lucas to talk about the incident. You need to talk about it, Lucas.
They're like, we're still here. Yeah, we never left.
They agree that Lucas did not deserve this and promptly tell him that he can leave. They mysteriously provide him with access to clean clothes and a new car, so that it will be as though nothing happened. Lucas, hesitant to leave, is reassured that he will not need to worry about Sadie's death. He leaves the facility, enters the car, and drives away. As he does, one of the floating creatures can be seen on the edge of the road, overseeing the events.
This one's chef's kiss. It makes the whole movie for me.
Yeah, it's so gross.
It's so horrible, but in the best way.
And so creepy. Those voices are just so good.
Yeah.
All right. Jailbreak, directed by Patrick Horvath, written by Dallas Hallam and Patrick Horvath. Sandy, Maria Olson, the dispatcher on the phone with Lucas, watches him drive away from a nearby payphone. She hangs up and walks into a bar named The Trap. Across the parking lot, Danny, David Yao, gets out of his car. Inside, the bartender, Al, Matt Peters, reprimands Sandy for leaving the door open. An argument ensues between the two, and Warren, Tyler Tweon, another patron in the bar. Danny barges in with a shotgun and demands to know the location of his sister. Warren, revealed to be a demon, cuts a gash into Danny's back, which doesn't really seem to affect him at all.
No, it's forgotten about immediately.
I kept thinking, like, how is he walking? Like, how is he even moving with that deep cut in his back? Danny blows off Warren's clawed hand with the shotgun. Danny takes Al hostage and forces him to drive to his sister's location, the back room of an ice cream parlor. By looking through the tattoo in his own hand, Al can see demons closing in on Danny as Al leads him through a secret entrance into a hidden room. So what that means is there's an eye, a drawing of an eye on the back of his hand, and he can put it up to his eye and see through that eye. That part was pretty cool, I thought. Inside the room, he finds his sister Jessie, Tipper Newton, applying a tattoo to a patron's back, similar to the tattoo in Al's hand. Danny tells Jessie that he has come to rescue her. She tells him that she is there by choice and refuses to leave. Danny kills Al and kidnaps his sister, carrying her to his car. The locals, all demons, chase Danny as he drives quickly away. They drive for some time and then stop when the road peters out into the desert. Jessie begs Danny not to go off the road. Danny, with the locals in pursuit, decides he has no other option. The car shakes violently as the pair drives out into the desert, seeing nothing up ahead, and eventually Danny stops the car. Jessie reveals that she killed their parents and that she deserves to live in the town. The demons pull Danny out of the car, stripping him. Jessie leaves him behind and drives away. She smiles and turns on the radio. As she drives, one of the floating creatures is visible in the moonlight, overseeing Jessie's plight.
Too complicated. All this shit is too complicated.
It is. I agree. This is pretty weak.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's not even a story. Like, okay, we've got more like just lore that obviously is only there because they didn't want to hire people that were age appropriate, where he's hella old, she's young, because I guess they don't age here. But that just, it really feels like there's no reason for that. And it takes you out of the idea that these are siblings. Like, you just don't believe it in any way. And like you said, nothing happened with his wound. No way with a back wound you can use a shotgun. No way. The demons, who cares? Like, I do think that the eye is a cool concept, but it feels more just like, oh, this would be a cool idea. Throw it in there. And I will say, I did think that it was creepy when they start stripping him. Like, that was like a creepy looking scene. But I wish that it all meant something. But it just all feels like there was zero thought put into any of it. And if there was, sorry, like, you didn't do a good job.
Well, and the fact that she killed their parents, I mean, there could have been a lot more, involved with that. But it's basically one or two lines. She's like, didn't you ever wonder? Well, don't wonder anymore, because I killed them and I deserve to be here.
Yeah. And then like the floating creatures, it's just like, what is this even supposed to mean? Like, why are they here? Like, it just feels like you could write a million theories about this. And then if you were to ask the people who wrote this, they'd be like, I don't know, sure. Like, they don't even know why they're there.
They're creepy.
They would look really cool if they were standing there.
All right. The Way In, directed by Radio Silence, written by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin. Jem, Hassie Harrison, exits the bathroom at Freezin' Over and sees Jesse walk back to the secret door. Jem then rejoins her parents, Kate and Daryl, Kate Behan and Gerald Downey, to finish their food. Jem is going to college, and this is their last weekend together before she leaves. As they leave Freezin' Over, someone in the parking lot watches them get into their car and drive to their vacation house. They are about to have dinner when 3 masked men break into the house. Daryl and Kate are caught while Jem hides. It's pretty scary.
I like this.
Home invasion.
Yeah, it's like they've got people knocking and, the dad kind of standing in front of mom and daughter. And I thought this was a good cast. Like, this looks like it could be a family, except nerdy thing, but no way 2 people with blue eyes could have a daughter with brown eyes. That just is like not possible. So someone cheated. But I thought they all looked great. Like, the dad, especially, I thought looked just so much like your dad, like a dad, and I thought the girl, she was like made sense as like a college student. And yeah, just when they're all like, what's going on? Like that, it got my heart racing a little. Mm-hmm. Also, my subtitles kept saying Jem was Jim. And for a little bit I was like, who the fuck is Jim? It really confused me. I was like, is there a brother I'm not seeing?
Yeah, me too. That was super confusing. I wonder why that happens.
Yeah, like they don't run it through anybody? I guess not.
Maybe that's extra.
Yeah, I once looked into how to become like a captioner because I thought that'd be a job I'd be good at. No, it's all outsourced and they get paid like pennies. And so it probably is somebody who English is like their second or third language who's like, sounds like Jim. And fair, it does.
Daryl realizes that he knows who the men are and what they want and begs them to spare his family. One of the men whispers to Kate what Daryl did, and she is astonished at her husband's secret. The same man then kills her in front of her husband. Jem then stabs one of the men in the back with scissors and takes the bat he was holding. Surprisingly, the other 2 tell her to leave. She runs away, and they kill Daryl. As he is dying, the man in the mask holds up a photograph of Catherine that Mitch was looking at in the way out to be the last thing he ever sees. After Daryl is dead, they remove their masks and are recognized as Mitch and Jack. As they are leaving, Jem returns and fights back. She injures them badly, but when she is about to escape, Mitch kills her. The men feel guilty because they went too far, but it is too late. Outside, the ground opens up as the enigmatic floating creatures from below come through the dead bodies. The men try to escape, but the third masked man is dragged down by the tentacles from beneath the earth. As the ground behind them continues to crumble, Mitch and Jack drive away. They are chased by one of the floating creatures, but Jack accelerates and runs it down. Jack says they are going home as they get back on the highway. Mitch looks at the photograph of his daughter Catherine as they drive away. Out in the desert, Mitch sees the creature stalking them, but does not tell Jack. The segments end the movie in a cyclical fashion, showing scenes from the start of the first segment and revealing that everything is a time loop.
I mean, I think a lot of it would hit harder if we knew what the fuck was happening. Like, why? What is the secret? Like, how did Catherine die? And we don't get any of that. So I kind of don't care,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me either. I think it would have been, it's just like, why leave it a secret? Like, why not reveal what the big deal is?
I feel like it's because they literally didn't. Like, I just feel like the people who made this movie did not give a fuck about it. Like, that's the vibe it gives off. And that's sad because I'm sure they did. I'm sure like so much work went into it. But it's kind of like, I got taught a hard lesson one time turning something in as a kid. Like, it was some poster I had done, but it was all crumpled. But I was like, whatever, I still did it. But the teacher was like, I'm not accepting that. It is crumpled up. And even though it looks great, you should have turned in something that looks better. And at the time I was like, fuck this sucks. But it did teach me a lesson not to do that. And I feel like this movie was crumpled up. Like, they just handed me a crumpled up paper and they were like, but I worked so hard on it. It doesn't seem like you did. And so I don't care. And sad because I'm sure so many hours went into this, but it's, they should have, you got to make your audience care.
And the other thing, a long time ago, we had a writer on, actually, I think she's an editor. We had an editor on as a guest, Kat Soul, and she said that she always starts with character. And I feel like that's an excellent way to start a story. And there's no character. There are no characters in this film.
Yeah. Just things that happen.
Just things that happen to various people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, here's some trivia. The hospital scenes in the accident were filmed in a non-functional wing of a working hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was stuff going on while they were filming this. Is crazy.
That's pretty cool. The van that breaks down in the siren segment actually broke down on set during production. For the entire final sequence of Siren, all the footage is flipped. The tattoo on Jack's arm says, "Only God can judge me." Briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Jackie Tracy gave it 5 stars. I love this movie dearly. Some segments are stronger than others. The accident being a seriously creepy standout.
Agree.
Well, we agree about that part. Silent Hill 8 gave it 5 stars. Really enjoyed this film. I first watched this a few years ago with my ex-boyfriend, and it definitely stayed in my memory. I rewatched it as of recently, and it made me pretty anxious, so 10 out of 10. Love it.
Good for you.
Bronwyn Murphy gave it 5 stars. Watched this while high. had an existential crisis, would do again.
This does seem like a movie that if you watched High, you'd be like, whoa, what the fuck? And the creature was there the whole time. Oh my God. Like, that's what they wanted us to think.
Limping Zombie gave it a half star. Whack.
Yep.
Cat and Bag gave it a half star. Brain damaged the movie.
Oh no.
So mean. Spook Babs gave it a half star. Well, that was stupid. Tacky bad acting and just a waste of time. I'm genuinely a bit mad at the guy who suggested this to me.
That's so funny. This is like every time, like, I feel like you, me, or Quinn have ever suggested a movie that then ends up not being good. This is what we think is going to happen: is that the others will be like, "And what the fuck was that?" Suggesting this movie that we're going to actually be mad, but it's more just like, "Oh, that was not like a great movie, but whatever."
Yeah, I mean, like, especially if none of us have seen it.
Yeah, how are you supposed to know?
How are you supposed to know? How would we rate it? In collapsed lungs?
2?
Oh, I would say, yeah. I mean, according to my rating system, pretty much the lowest I can give it is a 3 if it's not like racist or sexist or something like that.
I feel like, honestly, The Accident, I really liked that one. Like, watching it, it genuinely made my stomach turn, but in a way that I enjoy. I don't know if I would watch that again necessarily, but I felt like maybe it's just a personal thing, but that for me hit so many notes of things that like are upsetting to me, but in a good way. And so that one spoke to me, but every other one did not. So it purely is like a 2 just on the merits of that one.
I think the part of The Way Out where the guy is trapped in the hallway, I love that whenever that happens. And he's trapped, and the voice of his daughter gets more and more hysterical. And that to me seems like a type of hell that I could imagine. So I thought that was pretty powerful. But I agree, it's not very strong.
Yeah,
like the one
overall.
The one where the guy goes to rescue his sister is terrible.
It's like one of the worst. Like, so bad. Offensive even in how bad it is.
I'll give it 3, but it's a border. It's on the border for that one. What have we learned?
I don't even know. Don't listen to I guess don't go to California, because this all took place in the deserts of California. I'm not going.
Stay away.
Stay away from Cali.
Yeah, I think the character thing is really important. And if you don't have characters you care about, you're not going to be scared by whatever happens to them.
Yeah. And I think in a way that's showcased by The Accident, because even though I don't really give a fuck about Sadie, we know who she is. And so I think that makes it more powerful, all these bad things happening to her, because you're like, oh no, you know, like if she was just a rando, even the little bit we know about her, I think benefits that story. And so the fact that there's none of that in any of the other ones, we are just like, okay, I don't know. The wife got killed. Who cares?
Right. Exactly. Would we watch it again? No. Do you have a favorite scene or favorite story?
The Accident.
The Accident.
When they all start laughing at him, oh my God, that's so good.
So good. Those voices are really good. They were really directed well.
Yeah. And I thought the guy did a good job too.
Oh, he did too. He's great. He's one of he's like a actor who's like a friend of the state. people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's in a lot of their stuff. And I think he's tried to have like more of a straight, career, but he does a lot of comedic acting too. And yeah, he's really good. Who wins the You Fool award?
I guess the girls for getting in that car. And the dad for doing God knows what he did.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do bad things.
Yeah, don't do
vaguely bad things.
He did what? Don't do that.
Well, thank you, Mac, for having this conversation with me about Tales from the Crypt and Southbound.
It was so much fun.
And thank you, WoHos, for joining us and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us truly. We appreciate you downloading the show and telling all your friends all about us. Next time, what will we be looking at, Mac? We could look at witches, folk horror, or ghosts.
Witches.
So we'll be looking at V from Russia and Season of the Witch from 1973.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Remember, WoHos, we love you, and don't go into the basement.
Yay, we did it.